Hello and welcome to another episode of the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. Listen, I had a pretty good night last night after my Tennessee Lady Vols took it to UCONN, beating UCONN, Geno Auriemma's UCONN, Coach Pat Summitt, the late Coach Pat Summitt's Tennessee Lady Vols. Yes, I do know that there's another coach, that Coach Caldwell is at the helm, and kudos to Caldwell. But this will always be, in my heart, the team that Coach Pat Summitt built. And for the first time since 2007, Tennessee defeated UCONN. If you know anything about women's basketball, you know this is a huge rivalry. Is it the same as it used to be back when Coach Summitt and Coach Geno Auriemma went head to head? No, it's not the same. In fact, Coach Caldwell had to sort of explain to her girls the significance of this meeting. But I was live for this game where Tennessee pulled it off. And I'm just going to show you a little bit of the live stream at the end of the game when Tennessee got the victory. Check it out. Kicks it back out. Don't foul. Misses. The first time since 2007. Come on now. Thank you, Jesus. Geno didn't even really hardly speak to her. Come on now. 2007. Iowa on Sunday, and now this. Oh, my goodness gracious, yo. I got to do this. I just got to do this right here. Yes. Who's that? Who is that smiling right now? Pat Summitt. Unbelievable. She coached her team to the title 8 times. 87, 89, 91, 96, 97, 98, 2007, and 2008. They have not beaten them since 2007. Yes, this feels real good. Woo! Yes. I ain't even playing, y'all. I just know Coach Summitt is smiling in heaven, even as I am still smiling right here on earth. We had a great time in the live stream. Feels really good to get that win. But what happened to Paige Bueckers? And how does her coach, Geno Auriemma, feel about it? And how did he handle it? Well, you can make up your own mind as to whether or not you feel his comments were appropriate. But here they are over at EA on X. And the caption says, presented without comment. Right. Because EA figures, like I just said, you decide for yourself what you think about what he said.
Bottom line is, we have some players on our team that are supposed to be our best players, and they got to play better. That's all there is to it.
Paige has had trouble getting going, it seems like, in a few of these bigger games now. I mean, just what do you feel like is kind of the block with her in terms of being able to start as hot as she has in Big East play?
I don't know. I don't know. It's a real kind of conundrum. Paige wants the ball in her hands all the time. Then when they trap her, she don't want the ball in her hands. So then we try to get her moving from, one thing to another, moving without the ball. And, it's so. So we've got to come to some sort of definitive thing here, how we're going to handle it. But right now it's not the winning edge for sure. And passing up stuff, like, I don't get it.
If anyone were to ask me what Geno exuded there, I have to say disgust. He looked like he was not just confused about whatever's going on with Paige. He looked like he was disgusted by it. He called her out. Let's just be real. You supposedly best player. You supposed to want the ball in your hand, but when they bring the heat, when they bring the smoke, when you start to get cooked, you don't want anything to do with the ball in your hand. It's a conundrum, etc. That's a far cry from way back in the day. Remember, I've been watching Tennessee versus Connecticut for a long time, and I still remember when Diana Taurasi played with Geno Auriemma, and I remember him saying, the difference between my team and other teams is that I have Diana Taurasi and they don't. That ain't what he said about Paige Bueckers. Now, I have to tell you and be honest, I have not seen a multitude of games with Paige Bueckers, but the ones I have seen have not impressed me. Now, I know she's had a series of injuries, and I know what kind of effect that can have on a person. Is that it? Is some of it psychological because the word out there, I don't know how true it is, but a lot of times the word that's out there becomes the word. And the word is that she doesn't want to be playing in Dallas. Is that affecting the quality of her play or not? I don't know. Is there some kind of something going on to make sure she's not number one? I don't know. I have said before, and so say I again, I'm not even so sure she's a definite for number one anyway, but I've not been impressed. And apparently her coach is not impressed. But even as I've said before, he doesn't seem to be the same person. That you interview him during halftime or after a game, and he just seems unsure. Even on the sideline, he doesn't seem to have the same passion. Now, years in the business can do that to you. But also when you're not dominating like you're used to doing, that can do it to you also. But the comments he made toward her, he couldn't even seem to hide his disgust or wasn't interested in it. What do you think of that? Do you feel like what he said was merited? It was okay? Or do you feel some type of way, or should Paige feel some type of way about how he answered that question about her? So how did she play? Let's take a look at her stats. In the 76-80 loss for UConn, Paige had 14 points. So she played 35 minutes. She went 5 for 16. Let me take out the highlight in case it blocks your vision. She shot 5 for 16, 2 of 6 from 3. She shot 2 free throws. That's it. So is she not being aggressive enough? She was 2 for 2. She had 4 rebounds. She did have 8 assists, but you need a Paige Bueckers to be scoring more. You'll forfeit the assists. Her job is to score. 1 steal. She had 3 fouls. Okay, 14 points from the one everybody feels is the number one pick in the 2025 WNBA draft. So, Geno, unimpressed. And not just unimpressed, but disgusted. As for me, I'll take that 76-80 win any day. Again, the first time since 2007. Geno and Coach Summitt, they may have respected each other as coaches, but they ain't like each other. I remember hearing out there that it was said that if one of them were on the side of the road, car broke down, the other one would keep on keeping on. Now, a large part of it, I'm sure, had to do with wins and losses in these tough matchups, but some of it, from what I hear, had something to do with Geno's recruiting practices. I don't know. I didn't do the investigating, but I've heard of that had something to do with it, that his recruiting practices left much to be desired in terms of integrity, etc. Don't know, can't ask, can't verify that that's the truth, but that's word on the street, as they say. So in referring to this rivalry, Coach Caldwell, who said, she had to explain to her team how big this is. This is what she said about it. So Thursday was her first UConn Tennessee game as a participant. This is what she said. My biggest memory of the series would be just how it took over your whole week of when that game was on the schedule. And you would talk about it at school, and you would talk about it at practice, and you would just be looking forward to it. And then you would watch it and you would record it. And it was just such a big deal, said Caldwell, who was in grade school when Auriemma first visited Knoxville. And I think that is something that was great for women's basketball. And it's very humbling to now be a part of it. Yeah, it's a huge deal. And for you to be so young, she just had a baby. Was it like just 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks plus? Anyway, that's just a side note. But she's like, I was a child when this stuff was going on. And now to be on the sideline for Tennessee, it definitely has to feel surreal. Geno, however, had different thoughts about the rivalry. He said it became something that wasn't normal. He said this on Tuesday, referring to the acrimony that grew between the fan bases, coaches, and programs. It just became stupid and became something I didn't want to be a part of anymore. I think our fans are stupid. I think their fans are stupid, and how they reacted to the whole thing. It just became something other than a basketball game. And after a while, that just got old. Maybe stupid is just a word Geno throws around, like doesn't mean it like he says it. Because remember, Caitlin Clark's fans were delusional and stupid. And now his own fans are stupid and Tennessee fans are stupid. And so I'm starting to think now that he throws stupid around like some people throw around crazy, like they don't mean crazy. They just say it like a slang. I don't know. Maybe that's what he means, but he certainly seems to be a part of his vocabulary that shows up. So yeah, it was definitely intense. It was definitely deep. And he said he was just tired of it after a while. But as this article at ESPN points out, even though it's not the same as it used to be, obviously Pat Summitt, when she got early onset dementia and then sadly passed away, things changed even more so then. I mean, she was the winningest coach of women's and men's, 8 titles. Geno, of course, has now surpassed that. But all you got to do is mention UConn to Tennessee fans or Tennessee to UConn fans, and it still means something. And the article points that out, man. You walk in, people bleed orange or they bleed blue, and it's a real deal. So for me, as someone who was a part of that whole rivalry stuff, in terms of watching it and cheering and booing, if it was UConn, I still don't like UConn. I still don't. You guys know how I feel about UConn. It's a basketball thing, right? So it's real. And that win, guaranteed, meant something. It meant something. I'm just going to share this little memory, and then I'm going to let you go, because Coach Caldwell mentioned recording the games and watching the games. I don't remember the year it was. I was coaching at the time, I remember. And it was a Tennessee UConn matchup, but I couldn't be home to watch the game. So I used my VCR. Like I used to record all the Houston Comets games on my VCR. I used that VCR to record this game because I knew I wasn't going to be able to watch it. So I recorded the game, and for a few days, I wasn't able to watch the game. Whatever was going on my schedule, probably coaching and teaching, I couldn't watch. So it was a few days. So I had to stay away from ESPN. None of my players told me, don't tell me anything, don't want to know anything. There wasn't any social media, so that wasn't a problem. But I just stayed away from any possible way that I would know how that game turned out, which is amazing that I was able to do that. So the day comes when I'm able to sit down and watch the game. I had recorded it, obviously. I'm watching the game. It's an intense game, as I recall. I don't remember all the details, but it was an intense game. And then the game goes into overtime. So it was obviously a close game. It goes into overtime, and I'm so like, come on, Tennessee. I'm so engrossed in this. And all of a sudden, the tape was done. Not that I ran out of tape, but because I had recorded it. You know those VCRs, you're recording it for a certain amount of time, certain length, but I didn't record it for enough time, and because of the overtime. So because of the overtime, it took it past. So after waiting several days to find out what would happen, I'm sitting there watching it, and all of a sudden it cuts off. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you stinking kidding me? So I never watched the end of the game. And I actually had to then go find out who won the game. That's wild. And I still don't remember who won that game. I can't tell you who won the game. Sorry if that's anticlimactic, but I don't remember who won the game. I do remember that it shut off after I stayed away for days, and it shut off, and I never got to watch the end of it, and I was bugging out. I could not believe. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Anyway, that's one of my memories of this rivalry and how it affected me. All right, congratulations to the Lady Vols. Thank you for those who are hanging out with me in the chat. I just know Coach Summitt is in heaven, like, come on, somebody. And that's what I'm saying down here on earth. So what are your thoughts about it all? The rivalry, what Coach Auriemma said, not just about the rivalry, but also about Paige Bueckers, about her performance as well. Your thoughts, always appreciated, especially those who are super, super respectful and a part of this huge community, this growing community. Hey, let me let you know right now that over on the second channel, Adrienne Ross Squared, my hope this weekend is to get into President Donald Trump's executive order concerning transgenders in women's sports, a very big issue. And so if you're not subscribed over to Adrienne Ross Square, go on over, subscribe there, turn your notifications on. I'm going to call it as I see it. And I'd love for you to tune in for that. So some point this weekend. So again, make sure you have your notifications on. All right. I will catch you next time, God willing. Hit the subscribe button over here also. All right. God bless you abundantly.